Hey, this is Ben Nichols from Lucero, and you're listening to the Midwest Mixtape Podcast.
Well, she smiles, oh so sweetly, nice lonely, nice lonely. And she acts just like she don't need me. Nice lonely, nice lonely.
Hi, and welcome to the Barn Studios and the Midwest Mixtape Podcast with your host, Mox and Dwayne here. And we're joined online right now with a special guest, Mr. Ben Nichols from Lucero. Ben, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. How are y'all doing?
Doing really good. Looking forward to this, to Thursday, August 15th at the Golden Record in St. Louis. You're coming into town as part of this new tour that's a super cool tour. And I know you've done several before, but tell us a little bit about the tour.
Yeah, it's called the Bikeriders Tour, and I've been doing them almost every year since 2011. I bought a motorcycle back then, and I realized I could put a acoustic guitar in a waterproof bag and just go on tour by myself on a motorcycle. And I thought that was about the coolest way to tour, because I'd been with the band, for 25 years now. But the idea of going out on the road alone was very appealing after so much time in a van with a bunch of guys. And so, yeah, I've been doing this Bikeriders Tour for a while now. And my buddy Oliver Peck, who's a tattoo artist from Dallas, he found out I was doing it, and he likes riding bikes as well. And so he's like, I'm going with you. And now I can't get him to not go. It's like half his thing now. So he books tattoo appointments in each town along the way, and he tattoos during the day and then kind of hosts the event every night. And so, yeah, it's laid back. It's a good time and a good excuse to ride some motorcycles.
Right. Your tan line's got to be great this summer, huh?
Yeah, I'll be out. I've already been down at the river. So yeah, I'll have plenty of outdoor time this year.
Is the riding between the cities and the shows, is that, cathartic for you in a way? Because, it's pretty, other than the hum of the motorcycle and the highway, you're pretty quiet, and very isolated.
Yeah, I think that's probably as close to meditating as I could probably get. My wife does that, the meditation, and it seems like a great, healthy thing to do, but I've never been able to just make the time for it. But riding a motorcycle, yeah, I can make the time for that. And so, yeah, it kind of gives your brain time to, your subconscious can work through some whatever issues you've got. You can just listen to music and kind of, you can zone out a little bit. But of course you still got to be aware of the road and your surroundings. And so you've got, it's a nice time to myself for sure. I think it is healthy in its own way.
And I don't ride bikes, but I guess my version of that is mowing the yard.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I love mowing the
yard. Yeah. And my wife would be like, "You're mowing the yard again?"
You're like, "Don't worry about it." Yeah.
It's got to cut itself.
I swear my neighbor cuts his yard every other day. Yeah. I figure his wife just wants him out of the house.
Yeah, and it always seems to be days that the kids are driving us crazy. Like, you're leaving now to go mow the yard. That's very convenient. Very convenient.
Yeah, so that is the same kind of thing.
So we don't, guys, we don't like to do therapy or anything, but we find ways, I think, to kind of hit some of those times where we can sort of be in our head a little bit and process things.
Yeah, and I mean, the motorcycle's that, and then every night I get to play a show, and I get to play these songs that are, therapy in their own way.
And man, what a beautiful country we have to drive across, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So many beautiful spots. And this time I'm doing kind of a big circle right in the middle of the country. So I head across Texas to New Mexico, and then up to Colorado, and then across Nebraska, and back down through Missouri and Tennessee. Yeah. So yeah, it'll be a fun ride.
Ben, I've been a fan of your band now for going on 20 years. And my introduction to Lucero was kind of neat. My cousin was in a rock and roll band. This is before social media was a thing, but he was a whiz at these chat rooms, and he'd find his band some gigs here and there. And somewhere along the line, someone played some Corey Brannon for him.
Oh, yeah.
And he brought it back to me. He's like, "You've got to hear this." And I was like, I was all in on Corey from jump, And,
Sure.
2006 down at the Orpheum Theater, you played third on a list of four. Corey was second, and after he played, we saw him outside and introduced ourselves. Said, "Hey, we drove 4 hours to watch you play," and he was like, "Oh my God, you got to be gypped. I want to make sure you guys get your money's worth. So get in there and watch Lucero. They're the best damn band in Memphis." And man, was he right! Like by the second song. But the second song, I turned to my best friend and was like, "Hey, I know who the best damn band in America is now, don't you?" And like,
Oh, wow.
we've been hooked ever since. There's a part of me who's thought, man, these guys should be selling out arenas and stadiums like U2 and Bruce Springsteen. But like, part of me hopes that never happens, because I'm like in on a secret. Like, I know who the best band in America is, and you don't. Ha ha.
Right.
I think the secret will probably be well kept for a while. I don't think you have to worry too much about that. I don't know. We're the kind of band that, for as much fun as we have, and I'm really proud of the body of work that we've accomplished to make. And I still love singing all the songs, but we've shot ourselves in the foot in one way or another, throughout the years. I don't know. I think there's a part of me that I kind of like playing the size venues that we play. I don't know if I want to do a Zach Bryan type thing where you're just playing stadiums to 30,000 people. That seems, I love it for him. And I'm a Zach Bryan fan. And I'm glad that folks are listening to that kind of music. That many folks are listening to that kind of music, but I don't know if I'm built for that. I like the dive bars and the little taverns. That's more my speed. So it suits me just fine.
Well, talk a little bit about Corey, because I know you name check him, and I believe it's Tears Don't Matter Much, about his mean streak, and then you did a guest bar on Wayward and Down.
Yeah, he was playing around town in Memphis in the old days, right when we were starting up. He was kind of starting up, and so we played a bunch of shows with him from the very beginning. And I always just thought his songwriting was amazing, and having somebody locally that you're kind of in a friendly competition with. Like, he would write a new song and it would just, blow my socks off. And then I'd have to go home and work on something. And I think it was good for me, having somebody like Corey Brannon, somebody that talented, in my kind of peer group back in Memphis in the old days. And I'm still a fan of his. The latest stuff he's put out is just as good, if not better, than his old stuff. So he hasn't, he hasn't lost anything. He's just kicking butt still. In the song Tears Don't Matter Much, I say he's got an evil streak.
Evil streak. Yeah.
When you've known somebody that long, sometimes, you've got maybe a girlfriend in common, or an ex-girlfriend in common. And so that might've been a slight, just a little dig, about one of those incidents. But yeah, he's still a really good friend. And, now every now and again, we'll do tours together, just solo tours, and we'll get on stage. And I think we did it at Old Rock House in St. Louis. We got on stage and no opener, no nothing. We just get on stage at the same time together, maybe a bottle of whiskey, and we just trade songs back and forth for 2 or 3 hours, until the bottle's gone. And those shows are really fun. Again, kind of laid back stuff like the Bikeriders Tour. But with Corey there, you never know what's going to happen. He's a brilliant guitar player. And just a great songwriter. So can't say enough good stuff about him.
I think that's one of the things, I know he has some like critical acclaim, I guess, for whatever that's worth anymore. But I think that's one of the most underrated things about him is his playing. When he plays live, he beats the shit out of his guitar, but he does it in such a passionate and aggressive way. I don't think it gets recognized as much as I think it should.
Yeah, I think he's never had a band. He's always been a solo guy. But I think there's a part of him deep down that really wants a band, and he wants to be in Van Halen. And
Don't we all?
yeah, exactly. And so yeah, some of that kind of tries to sneak through sometimes when he's on stage playing just the acoustic guitar. But yeah, he can just on the electric guitar. Oh, he's a monster. Like, yeah, he was one of those kids that just grew up in the '80s, learning all the Eddie Van Halen solos and all the metal solos. I never did that. I don't know if I was too lazy or just didn't have the skill, but Corey does. Yeah. So actually, I think I'm gonna hire him. I'm working on a solo record right now that maybe I'll record this fall. And I was like, ooh, I could get Corey can play guitar on it. So yeah, that might be in the works.
Sounds awesome. Hey, you mentioned in Dreaming in America that you had 150 songs about girls and 2 about your grandpa. I guess since that's come out, I guess the numbers have grown.
Yeah, the funny part is, I've got a couple more about the same granddad, and a couple more just about family back in Arkansas. I miss Arkansas. That's where I grew up. I was raised in Little Rock, and the family was from farms nearby. And so yeah, I've got a few more family songs, and then I've got more girl songs, but now they're all about my little girl Izzy.
Nice.
I got an 8-year-old daughter now. And so, yeah, for the last 8 years or so, yeah, all the heartbreak songs are about, having to leave her. It's not the random hookups or the ex-girlfriends or, yeah, any of that anymore. It's, yeah, my heart's all hers now.
One of the songs about your grandpa, I think, is A Fistful of Tears. And Ben, I want to say this. I lost my brother in April of 2018, and it was during the Lucero family picnic. It was actually his funeral, and a friend of mine was down there, ran into you, mentioned that, and you dedicated that song to my brother that night on stage. And man, I got to tell you, I needed that at that time, and I got to thank you for the song, and you really I'm getting emotional.
I'm glad I could sing it. Yeah, I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah,
but
I have a hard time hearing it now, but I mean, it's still,
sure.
What a great song. What a great song.
Man, when I hear stuff like that, that means a lot. There's not a bigger compliment than folks, making the songs a part of their experience. And thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
A part of that is your passionate fan base. I think they've stuck around for over 2 decades now, right? And I'm sure that means a lot to you. And
it does.
2 decades in, I'm sure, I don't know, I don't want to speak for you. That's why we're here asking you. But how do you find that, that motivation to still be out there on the road? Because you, more than any other band that I can think of, have been road dogging it for all that time.
We have, and now it's like 25 years. It hurts me to say it. I think April was 26 years. It's just the years don't stop. It's insane. But yeah, we're super appreciative of all the folks, and we can, we see a lot of familiar faces out there, that folks that we've known for years and years and decades, in some cases. But yeah, to be honest, when it comes down to it, I'm out there for myself. There's something about singing those songs still to this day that helps me on some level. Writing the songs, I guess, is therapeutic in its own way. But there's something about going out and just singing them live that, I don't know, it's important to my soul. And so I've just got to say thank you to the folks that show up and allow me to get away with that every night. And yeah, we're, with Lucero, we have our vices. We're known as a drinking band, and some of us quit and some of us still do a little bit. We don't drink quite as much as we used to. We're slowing down a little bit, but yeah, I guess I'm saying thank you to the audience for sticking with me in the ups and the downs and letting me indulge myself.
How important was 2002's Tennessee to your career?
Man, that's a lot of people's favorite album. And I didn't realize at the time, how long that would stick around. Yeah, it was just all those songs were directly out of my life at the time. And yeah, I think I didn't realize, but we kind of captured something special. And I still love singing all those songs. So, yeah, that brought a lot of people on board, and that kind of came out right when we really started hitting the road. And we bought a van, a Dodge Ram van, and built a loft in the back, stuck the gear underneath the loft, and then just lived in that van for, the next 5 years.
Wow.
And yeah, that's really when we started to grow as a band.
I remember when I saw your T-shirt in Hustle and Flow. DJ Qualls wore a Lucero shirt, and I asked you about it before, and if it was a surprise, and you said that your brother had you bring down a few different shirts to see what one popped off the screen the best. It was a great choice, by the way. What a great movie Hustle and Flow is. Mud, one of my favorite movies. Yeah. Matthew McConaughey's great.
Sure.
A frequent collaborator with your brother Michael Shannon was in your most recent video. What a cool, I guess he looks a little creepy. Like he might be like you don't want to make direct eye contact with him sometimes.
He's intense. Michael Shannon's intense. But I'm going to go back and correct you real quick. Hustle and Flow is actually a Memphis filmmaker named Craig Brewer.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And he made he made The Point of Hungry. And then that was his second film, Hustle and Flow. And that is how Craig Brewer made his mark. And we still hang out with him from time to time. We're still good friends with him, but he happened to be a Lucero fan and was nice enough to use the shirt in Hustle and Flow. And then my brother, I don't know when he made his first movie, maybe around the same time, he made Shotgun Stories and Take Shelter and then Mud. But Jeff's career was getting going kind of around the same time as Craig Brewer's. So yeah, we know some talented people, and we've been lucky enough to have them include some of our stuff in their films. And yeah, with Jeff, my brother, getting to know Michael Shannon a little bit. He's hilarious. But yeah,
odd man,
super intense. And just, he's one of those actors, that other actors look up to. He's an actor's actor. And the fact that we got him and Garrett Hedlund and Scoot McNeary to come to Memphis and make a Lucero video with Jeff directing it, that's one of the coolest things that is the coolest thing Lucero's ever done. And we've done some cool stuff. We played with some of my heroes, and we've been some cool places, but getting that video made with those actors and my little brother at the helm, that was super cool. For Long Way Back Home off of Among the Ghosts. It's on YouTube.
It's great. I love it.
So cool.
Having so much of your life really based on art and creativity, and being around these people that I'm sure they inspire you, and like you're talking about with Corey, push you to be better, maybe a better songwriter. Are projects ever done? When do you know that a song is done? Because even like when you play live, you've played so many variations of so many of your songs. Is a project ever finished?
Man, I guess, when the record comes out and, when the mastering's done, you can't go back and change anything unless you want to, pay for it to be remixed and remastered. When the money runs out is when it's done, I guess, when it comes down to it. Because there's always stuff going back and re-listening that I would change today, even on almost every record. There's stuff that I hear that bugs me, but you just got to let that go and let it be its own thing. Once it's out in the world, it's not really yours anymore. It kind of belongs to the folks listening. And so that's one of the things you learn to live with, I think, as a musician putting out records. And I think it's the same for my brother with his films. They've got to be released at some point, and then they're not yours anymore. But with me, I get to go and sing the songs live every night. And so if there's a word, there's In the War, the song about my granddad, on the record, there's a verse that says, in the last verse, he says he takes care of himself first. And after that record was out there, folks that they take care of himself to mean he killed himself.
Right.
And that's not at all what I meant. And lines after that, it talks about him still being alive, but people kind of missed it. So then on stage now, I say he looked out for himself first. Just a small change, but I feel better singing it every night like that, even though it's one way on the record. I can change it from night to night. So yeah, little things like that.
Were those direct quotes? I mean, were those things your grandpa actually said? Eat your supper with?
Well, he died when I was 12. I didn't get to know him that much. A lot of this stuff I remember my grandmother saying, like stuff like it was easier to get booze sometimes on the front line than it was to get clean water. And the whole thing about getting knocked back down to private, getting promoted to sergeant and not wanting to be in charge and finding a way to get demoted. I remember them talking about that. So yeah, it's stories I heard from the family. And then some of those lines are from some books I've read about those guys and World War II and the veterans from that era. And so I kind of combined the stories I heard from my family with stuff I'd been reading and kind of put together his story the best I could.
Ben, what was I like to call it your Beatles on Sullivan moment. What was the moment that you knew music was something that you wanted to, make a career out of?
Man, I don't know. When I always loved rock and roll. I loved my dad's. When I was 4, I remember listening to my dad's 45 collection, and it was, Rock Around the Clock and Rock and Robin and some Buddy Holly and Chuck Berry. And I loved it just from the very beginning, riding my rocking horse, listening to, Buddy Holly records. And I didn't know what it was, but I knew I liked it. And then, you're a teenager and folks are in bands and you realize that you can make this kind of music, especially the punk rock type stuff. Like you don't have to play that well. You just get up and do it.
Right. And, the truth. That's all you need.
Yeah, exactly. And from that moment on, I was like, ooh, I just want to get in a van and with some other dudes and roll around the country playing rock and roll.
Mission accomplished.
Well,
I managed to do it for 26 years now.
Right. You got to get the girls somehow, and you can't play football and you can't dunk a basketball. So, you got to play a guitar, right?
That became part of it too, for sure. And that's how I met my wife. I met her at a Lucero show. And yeah, it's kind of crazy, but it all worked out.
I've taken many a girlfriend to a Lucero show. You were a great wingman, Ben.
I mean, I'm not sure if, are you what's your situation now? You single? Are you dating? Are you married? I have no idea. What's your situation now?
Oh, I'm single as hell now.
Single as hell. Divorced?
No. My last girlfriend ripped my still beating heart and showed it to me.
Oh my gosh.
Walked out the door. But
man, I'm so sorry.
It's always been you was our song. I've had many girlfriends.
Always been you.
Yeah. That was.
Oh man,
yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah.
I'll play it when I get to St. Louis.
Yeah. Well, I'll be there. So we'll see. Maybe she'll be with me. Maybe she won't.
Wait. Yeah. Maybe we need a new song for.
Yeah. We've been breaking up for like a year, man. It's been taking forever.
Oh, man. I see. Well, yeah, I feel for you. But yeah, I finally cashed in my chips and settled down. And yeah, that's actually been super fun for me too.
We'll talk about St. Louis Thursday, August 15th at the Golden Record. Open Highway presents Ben Nichols with famous tattoo artist Oliver Peck. We'd love to talk to Oliver too. I'm not sure if he's doing any press on this, but if he's doing some, we'd love to chat with him too. Thursday, August 15th. What can the fans expect at this show? Is it all songs? Is it your solo stuff specifically? What can we expect?
No, it'll be a little bit of everything. I've only got one solo record so far, The Last Pale Light in the West. So I'll do a number of songs off of it, but I'll be doing a whole bunch of Lucero songs. I'll do some requests, whatever folks shout out for. And then yeah, I've got some new songs that I'm working on. Like I mentioned, I might have Corey play on this solo record. So maybe there'll be some, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 brand new songs just to test out, see what people think.
Man, be careful on that ride in. St. Louis in mid-August, man, it's hot.
Oof. Yeah, it's going to be rough the whole way. And St. Louis traffic. Nah, we've done it before. We'll make it just fine.
What are you riding? What kind of bike are you riding?
Man, I've got an 07 BMW R1200GS, an old man bike. I've ridden BMWs the whole time I've been riding. I had a friend come through town on a BMW K bike way back in the early 2000s, and I loved it. And so then I bought an old 70s BMW, and then I upgraded to this bike back in 2010, and I've ridden it on every tour. But we'll see. It's coming down to the wire. It's getting some service done. I might have to invest in a new bike soon, but it'll probably still be a BMW. It's just what I love. Everybody that rides with me on the tours, Oliver and some other guys that come along, all ride Harleys, and I embarrass them. They want me on a Harley really bad, but it's my tour, and so I'm going to ride the bike I like. And so I love the BMWs.
One more before we let you get out of here, Ben. We talk about peer group and people, that have come up with you. And I know John Moreland's not a Tennessee guy. He's a Oklahoma guy, but he's one of my favorite songwriters. And I know you guys are close. We mentioned the Picnic. He's played the Picnic a few times.
He did. Yeah.
And then obviously the cover of God's Medicine and everything. Tell us a little bit about your relationship with John Moreland, and what do you think of that new record?
Man, I love it. The Visitor record. I think he's at the top of his game. He's like Corey Brennan. His old stuff is gorgeous, but his new stuff is still on par with any of the old stuff. He hasn't missed a beat. And John, I can't remember. I think Lucero was playing either in Tulsa or Oklahoma City. I think it was the Green Door maybe in Oklahoma City, and he opened for us. And I'd never heard of him before. But the promoter was like, "Oh man, you gotta hear this guy," and of course he just blew us all away. And we were kind of friends ever since then. I was actually playing a show at the Whitewater Tavern in Little Rock, Arkansas, which is only a few hours from Oklahoma City, Tulsa area. And I was playing with Corey Brennan at the Whitewater Tavern, and John just showed up just to come to the show. And so of course we made him play a few songs. And then he just started to kind of skyrocket. More and more people found out about him, deservedly so. He's something special that's out there right now.
Yeah, he's one of my top favorites. Ben, thanks so much. We're really looking forward to Thursday, August 15th at the Golden Record in St. Louis. Ben Nichols with host Oliver Peck. Open Highway presents. Doors are at 7, shows at 8 p.m. All ages, $20. Man.
No, you can't beat that.
Oh, my gosh. LuceroMusic.com, and then the Bikeriders Tour. I know you guys have an Instagram and things like that. So looking forward to when you get into town, man.
Man, thank y'all so much for talking to me. I can't wait to get to St. Louis.
Ben, again, I want to mention my brother did not like a lot of things. Okay, he was a kind of a curmudgeon and set in his ways, but man, he loved Lucero. Your band has been the soundtrack of our adulthood.
Man, that's cool to hear.
I mentioned, we played one of your songs at his funeral, right next to "Always Look on the Bright Side of Life." So,
really?
So like just a little bit about what kind of personality he brought to the table. I miss my brother every day, and every time I listen to Lucero, it takes me back to a memory with him, and I can't thank you enough for that.
That means a lot. Thank you for sharing that with me. That means a lot.
Thank you, Ben.
Thanks so much, man.
All right, I'll talk to y'all later.
Sun